And I was just crying by myself at this wedding, which should be a beautiful event. Hi guys, and welcome back to Chef's Choice. This time it's going to be a completely different video, and it's not going to be about the Eurovision. So if you're only here for Eurovision content, that's completely okay. You can just stop the video and come back next time when I talk about the Eurovision again, which I will surely do, because my channel will be mainly about the Eurovision Song Contest. But still, I thought that I would like to share also a little bit more about myself on this channel and not only exclusively talk about the Eurovision Song Contest, because firstly the contest happens only once a year and the high season is only the few months before that. And the rest of the year I don't have much content for the channel, so I would also like to bring some other things into it. I'm always open also for ideas if you have anything that you would like me to do. This time I'm going to talk about a story or a memory that popped into my head from a few years ago, where I felt very emotional, and I think it's a story that tells a lot about myself. Yeah, maybe you're interested in getting to know me a little bit better. If not, that's completely okay. But I'm telling the story anyway. So it happened, I think, 3 years ago, when a couple of my friends got married, and they had their wedding in Mallorca in Spain, which was fantastic. I spent the whole week there with my boyfriend, and on the last weekend the wedding happened. It was a really beautiful event. It was at this gorgeous beach club right at the sea with a swimming pool that we couldn't use, unfortunately, but it looked nice, and the music was great, and the food was great. But what I wanted to talk about is what happened in the evening, quite late at the party. The whole party was outside, and it was already dark by that time, but there was this illuminated area where people were dancing and drinking and having fun. And at some point I stepped outside for a moment to smoke a cigarette. So I was standing next to the swimming pool that was quite dark. I was standing there and looking onto this scene of dancing people, those beautiful lights, and it was a really beautiful scene to watch. But I suddenly got very emotional. And I didn't really know why at first. It was this weird mix of emotions that happened. So maybe I have to say that I'm a very visual person. I watch a lot of TV series, I watch a lot of movies, and I was always a little disappointed with the reality, because there are never those beautiful pictures that you see in the movies, those beautiful framed compositions. But at that moment, when I was standing there and looking at this scene, it felt like a movie. And automatically, when you watch something like a movie, you are outside. So I wasn't part of it anymore for a moment, which I like, because I like to watch things. That sounds creepy, but I am a very observing person. Yeah, so suddenly I was not part of this whole event anymore. In my head, it was kind of like an outer body experience in a way. I was watching this scene, and I was watching my boyfriend with his friends, and most of the people are friends of his. The wedding couple and a few more I do consider friends myself, but most of them are contacts from my boyfriend's circle. But so there was this first layer of emotion where I just thought it is so beautiful to watch this, like a movie, seeing people dancing and socializing and drinking and having fun. But there was a second layer of emotion where I realized that I was kind of jealous of those people, because I'm always having difficulties interacting with people, connecting with people, making new friendships, having even a fluent conversation with someone, because I'm not a talker. I've said this in one of my very first videos on this channel, before I got into the Eurovision thing, that sometimes a whole day can go by without me talking a single word. So talking is not my strong suit. And I always had difficulties with that, because it didn't help me make friends. And I've always been more or less a loner because of that, which is okay. I learned to accept myself, and it does get better. I'm much better at talking now than I was 10 years ago. But still, it felt, when I was standing there and looked at this, it felt so natural for all of those other people, and I was kind of jealous because I can't do that. I'm never this relaxed. I'm very self-conscious in those situations. So jealousy was the second layer of emotions. And then the last thing that struck me was when I realized what song was playing. then the third layer of emotions hit me, because it was That's What Friends Are For by Dionne Warwick. And I suddenly felt so sad, because I was watching the scene with friends interacting with each other, dancing with each other, and hearing this song, That's What Friends Are For, and realizing that I don't really have those people around me that I can be that comfortable around like that. I suddenly got really sad, and I couldn't help myself, but tears were just, the floodgates opened, and the tears came out, and I was just crying by myself at this wedding, which should be a beautiful event, but I just couldn't stop it. It just hit me, and I didn't really cry because I was sad, because as I've said, I know myself, and I've come to terms with who I am. I will probably never be the most social person, so it wasn't really sadness that made me cry, but more this overwhelming mix of emotions. It was one of the most beautiful things I've seen, because it looked like a movie, and I finally found myself like I was part of a movie scene, which I always wanted reality to be. And then this mix of jealousy and sadness. Yeah, so it was just too much at this moment. Maybe also because there was some alcohol involved. And then I felt so bad because I didn't want to cry at another person's wedding, which should be a happy event for them. And again, I wasn't sad. It's hard to describe. But after a while, my boyfriend came, and of course he didn't understand at all what was going on, and I couldn't even talk anymore because I was crying so hard. So until I explained to him what actually happened, it was really strange. And the wedding couple never really got an explanation for what happened. They've seen at least that I had red eyes from crying, but they never said anything, and I don't think that they will remember this. But for me, it was a really memorable moment that I carry with me, because I've rarely felt this emotional, and I kind of liked it, because sometimes I feel more when I watch a movie than I feel in real life. So that enhanced this whole cinematic feeling that this situation had for me. Again, I don't know why I told you this story. I don't know if I will upload this video anyway. If you see this, then I did. And I hope you liked it. And my camera battery is going down, so I have to wrap this up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, or any other videos than Eurovision, please tell me. If you don't want it at all, you can tell me as well. But for now, thank you for listening, and I hope you could get the important parts of the story, even though I didn't tell it in a very understandable chain of events. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.